Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jock here. This is Pest Finder Professionals, and this is our fourth episode since we actually got reorganized and got this going. And today I've actually got a classic episode for all of you small pest control companies that are out there that may be struggling, that may not know where to go. I'm going to bring in somebody who I've had on before, who's a member of Pest Finder Pro as well. And you're going to hear right from the horse's mouth what's happened to him when he went to some of these big marketing companies that promise the world. So my guest again this time is Jeff Rea from First Response. Jeff, welcome back. How are you doing, my friend?
Great. Good to see you again.
I know we might have a wee bit of problem with signals and everything else. We got a bit of a snowstorm up here. You've probably got beautiful weather where you are.
It's not too bad. A little bit of clouds in the sky, but I'll tell you, Southern California, you can't beat the weather.
I mean, it's like sunny and 80 all year round. Very, very much. You don't get so much bad weather, apart from
not a lot.
You have the odd treacherous rain and earthquakes and everything.
We definitely did get some rain over. What I didn't have on my bingo card was we got a tropical storm. Well, it started out as a hurricane off the coast and then became a really heavy tropical storm mid-August. And I thought, wow, okay, rain in August was not on my bingo card, not at all.
Do you know what? I remember that. A friend of mine down in California, he'd gone through it. It was a bit rough for him over there, and he never expected it coming rolling in.
Oh yeah, 4.5 in some areas, 5.5 inches up to in other areas of rain, all in one day. And then, of course, back to back with that was a whole week of over 100 degrees. So as you can imagine, the bugs went crazy.
It must have been a good time for you in terms of business, because the bugs would have been out, or they'd have been in their best.
They really would. Yeah, they kept us on our toes for sure. Kept us very, very busy. Heck, even going back to customers that we'd already serviced, and they said, "I don't know what happened," and I go, "Well, that rain may have something to do with it, but we'll get it squared away for you."
The good Lord brought another plague in. You didn't expect it.
So, yes.
All right, so we're going to talk about, because last time you and I spoke, I mean, things were going great for you. And I remember you saying and showing me, you said, what do you think of your new website? You were excited about it. And you had moved on to, you're starting to work with a big marketing company.
Yes.
And it didn't go according to plan. So let's dive into a little bit of what you expected, what was promised. And the last time I looked, you went back to a GoDaddy site and you lost all that amazing stuff you had. So Jeff, I mean, you're going to help a lot of other small pest control companies that are building, just to give them a warning that big ticket is not always the right way to go. So tell us what happened to you.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'll tell you. Well, we've got something to benchmark it against, and what that was what we were doing in the beginning. Not being marketing experts, being more pest control experts, we wanted to focus on just servicing our customers, but we also know that there's going to be some attrition and we need to get in new customers. We always got to be bringing new customers in the door. And if you're not, then you start to shrink. And that's not what we want. We want to build routes, not, downsize or consolidate routes. And so we were working with a very small, no-name marketing firm, about a state away from us. And they were getting the phones to ring. And we had a decent-looking website. And this was back in the beginning. And the price tag wasn't very high. But again, they were a small, no-name firm. But man, I'll tell you, they knocked it out of the park. They knew what they were doing. And being smaller, they really did stay on top of it. When we needed something, it was an email, a 24-hour response at most, sometimes within 12 hours. They were really great. And then what happened is I had an old high school friend, basically went to work at one of the big marketing firms, and I think he had some sort of incentive, to
of course they do, yeah.
Yeah, if you can get some more customers for us, we'll, give you a bonus, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And he's an old high school buddy. So he says, "Hey, you're still running pest control?" I said, "Absolutely." And he goes, "Hey, do you want to step up with the big boys and do the marketing? It's actually more affordable than you think." And I said, "Okay, well, I'd like to find out more about that." So we
Yeah.
found out about it, and I'll tell you, initially it was sticker shock because what we were used to paying versus
Yeah.
what they pitched us, I said, "Holy smokes,"
Thousands, let's
Oh,
just say. Oh,
yes.
yeah,
Big time, yeah,
absolutely.
and 2 months to get a website up and running. Now the small, mom and pop shop, they got our website, that they had for us originally, they had that up and running in 2 weeks. So 2
Yeah.
months wait, and I said, "Oh my gosh," and then I talked to the rep over there, and of course he said, "Well, there's a lot of folks signing on. We've got a bit of a backlog, but we're working
Yeah.
diligently," all that fun stuff. And I said, "Okay, I'll hang in there." And so we kind of had an overlap. We were still paying the small firm to keep that website
Mm.
up and running because we needed to stay visible. Um,
Yeah.
and then the big firm finally came through and said, "Here's what the site looks like. Just need your final approval and we can go live." Looked at it and said, "Wow." And that's when we talked last time. I said,
And you
yeah,
showed me it. I remember, and I was
yeah,
like, "This is nice, dude. This is good. I like it. It's
yeah. And it was
clean.
laid out
Yeah,
beautifully. I mean, the
yeah,
first one we
absolutely.
had was nice. It was functional, but
Yeah,
oh, I mean, this one was like, I say the first one was good. It was Honda Civic good, and then the second one, the one that I showed you, I mean, we're talking BMW, top of the line,
yeah.
7 Series good. It was
I
beautiful.
remember
And
looking at it, and I was like, yeah, that cost you a pretty penny. That's going to cost you down the line, and that's it was
yes.
nice though, and I remember how it was put together. Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, I was so proud. I said, "Oh man, look at our new
Yeah,
website." I put it,
yeah. I remember.
QR
I
codes
remember.
on all of our printed materials. Our business
Yeah,
cards have QR codes now. And I says, "Man, I just want people to see this site and then get a good
yeah,
feel from that about how professional we are." And then they want, obviously they're going to want us, and
yeah,
there's a whole lot of competitors in the area.
yeah,
But we just really wanted to stand out. And so they said, it'll stand out. And when I saw the site, I said, wow, it really stands out. Um,
yeah.
the downside, though, was they made a site that looked beautiful, but it didn't rank very well. And so
Mm,
they also, and I didn't know it at the time. Again, not having expertise in that field and trusting,
mm,
the experts to do what they had
mm,
expertise in. I says, okay, but they were also competing against us in our own backyard because
yeah,
other competitors of ours were also signed up with them. And the way that we figured that out was their sites too looked very nice. But it was very much akin to one of the templates they offered.
very
And
similar.
that was the first sign. And then you roll down to
Yeah,
the bottom, all the way down to the bottom, and then you can see
same.
some of the wording. And I'm like, oh, I'll be dipped. They work with these guys too, but
Yeah.
they rank higher. So I thought, well, I wonder if they're outspending us. Um, and then, of course, you get into it 4 months, 6 months, and you're having your regular,
And
every 2 weeks.
I remember at one point, Jeff, you were like, "Oh yeah, I'm really excited because they're going to be going to putting articles up for us and content up for us,
Absolutely.
and I was excited for you because I thought, okay, excellent, this is going to be going, but it just didn't transpire.
It didn't transpire, right? The articles weren't going up. The location pages, they had a package deal, and you get a couple more location pages a month. And we've got a lot of little towns that make up the two valleys that we cover. It's a lot of land
I
mass,
remember.
but several different boroughs and areas and things. And I
Yeah,
thought, okay, well, that's an awful lot of location pages, but over time it'll start to populate and everything will fill in. And I remember, a couple of times having asked them, hey, did we get our new location pages for the month? Did we get a new blog article? Oh, we're working on that. And okay, well, I know that, like, usually it's in by this time of the month, 5th of the month, we would get the location pages. And usually by the
yeah,
10th of the month, we would get our blog posts.
it's crazy.
And yeah, crazy. So now, I mean, we're getting to the 20th, the 25th, and I'm going, hey, what about the new, upgrades to the site? Did we
And
get we're working on,
you're spending a good couple of
oh,
$1,000s a month on this. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. And
wow.
honestly, when they pitched it to me and I got sticker shocked, I told them, I said, wow, that's way beyond the budget I had, set aside in my
It's
mind.
what, but here's the
And
thing: it's worth it. It's worth it if you're going to get the service. Let's face it.
and
If you're going to get
that's what I
and
said.
that's it. If you're going to get experts that understand, and here's the other thing that I found: they claim that they're experts in the industry, but not one of them has actually put on. They've never carried a pest pack on them on the back. They have never sprayed. They
Right.
don't understand entomology. They don't understand this, and so they just don't know what they're doing. And so this is where I think that anybody who's listening out there, I mean, if you're going
Yes.
to work with someone, they need to know the industry. They need to
They need to
know
know
the
what we do.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I mean,
know.
exactly. I remember we talked. I mean, we did it. Not, I'm not want to promote Pest Finder Pro, but we did an article that we put together on your profile for the Argentinian ants, and you get
Yes.
into that and you understand that, and we write about it. And we
Right.
write about that. You've got to know what you're talking about. Well, they
And I
don't
mean, you
because
or I
they're
talking
only
about it, we can just sum that whole article up in, 2 sentences, but we know what we're talking about. But, to the layperson,
exactly.
that article
They
really
don't.
breaks it down for them.
And they need to be able to understand that. And at the end of the
Yes.
day, and this is why I've said to people, if you're going to pay the sticker price, make sure that you're actually getting quality and they know what you're talking about. And so you're
Exactly.
paying for a service that you're not getting, but you're
Yes.
excited because you think it's really going to get you there and get you ranked places, and and location pages are not happening, content's
Right.
not happening. When
Right.
did you start to think this is just, and in fact, before we go on to that, I remember when we spoke recently as well, there was a lot of hidden fees that you didn't even know about.
Oh, that's also true. Yeah. So, now if you wanted to add something to the pest library, that was a fee. And if you wanted to add a promotion, with the larger companies, another fee. If you wanted to add another blog entry, over and above what the package allowed for, even if you
Right.
wrote the article yourself. So, like you or I, we have a research, we go through, we really look and fine tooth it, and we go, hey, there's something
Yeah.
a customer could know about. Hey, this is what motivates
Yeah.
this particular insect. This is what
That's it.
motivates
Yeah.
a rodent to, move into your attic. And this is why they want to be in your attic. And this is, what you could do to help prevent it, bird seed out, dog kibble out,
Absolutely.
things
Yeah.
like that. And I'd written a couple of them and I said, is there any way we can upload this to our site? And they said, sure, but it's going to cost you in order to do that. And I said, it's a copy paste. I can just put it in an email on a PDF and you copy paste it. I said, I'm no web guru, but I understand it's not that difficult to
No, it's
upload
not.
content.
No.
And they said, no, we can get it done pretty fast, but it's going to be X amount. And I said, oh my goodness. And then, but see, I would have been happy to pay that as well if
If you
the
were getting the
calls were
service,
coming
and
in.
if
That's
they'd
right.
have said, okay, we'll
Yeah.
edit it, we'll get it up there, we'll put the anchor text in there, we'll link it where it needs to be linked, we'll link it back to places, but you weren't even getting
Yeah.
that. I mean, you weren't getting that at all either.
Right, right. And so then we started to do a little bit more than just the little bit of espionage, looking at competitors' pages to see who they're also working with.
Wow.
But also we started to look at, we actually downloaded some tools, Dib and SEM Rush and things like that,
Definitely.
and tried to
Yeah.
measure their work, against what those things, and heat maps and, all of these other things that, free trial on some of them and everything. But we just wanted to see, are these guys really knocking it out of the park for us?
Yeah.
And I even remember telling my rep, was the third rep because they switched our rep a couple of times. They moved people
Jeez.
around a lot in the big companies, but we're on our
Yeah.
third rep. And I remember being on a, telephone conference with them. And I said, hey, listen,
Oh, you're
I
frozen.
just ran a site audit and I'm not really sure, but there's some things that show that need to be fixed and this site
Yeah,
audit.
you're frozen.
Do you
Let's
know
let's
about them?
go.
Are you aware of them?
Jeff. Let's go back there a
Yeah.
minute because you froze and I lost you.
Oh,
But I want to
gotcha.
go back, and my editor will edit this. But I want to go back to you got it going. You were you wanted to check out on them, and
Yeah, check out on them.
that's kind of where I lost you.
Oh, gotcha. So, we use some of the tools available out there
Yeah,
to
yeah,
do
yeah,
site
yeah,
audits, because I wanted to see, how do we stack up? And so we would audit our site and, several other sites and,
yeah.
just kind of see. And it's like, which keywords do we rank on? And,
Mm-hmm,
which areas
mm-hmm.
do we rank better in? And, looking at a geogrid, like a heat map, that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And I started to find out real quick, like, man, I'm paying a lot of money every month,
For
but the
nothing.
phone isn't ringing. And for nothing, and so I even said to
And
him, I said, I have a beautiful site.
did they also say to you they run your ads and all that kind of stuff? And were you paying for ads as well?
Oh my goodness, I'm glad you asked. Yes, so of
I had
course
to because I
the
knew it.
next logical step was you need to do some Google guaranteed ads. And I said,
Yeah.
well, wait a minute. I, a mere hundredaire, am giving thousands to Google, who's worth a googillion, and
Mm,
I think I need the money more than they do. But okay, but it seems a bit extortionate to me to pay extra for those ads just to show up a little higher. And but also it really reminisced of the little bit of dabbling we did with like some of those other pay-per-leads
yeah.
type of deals, and the ones they're out there. There's the Angie, the home advisor, those things
I know what you
where,
mean.
you do pay for the leads that you get. And if you're quick, you can get those leads to convert. But other
Yep.
guys are also getting those leads. So,
Same
but
thing. And
everybody's
they're
paying for that
shopping.
lead. So they might
And I
send it to
think
4
with
people and collect 4 times.
that's it. And I think with the local search ads, because we
Yeah.
have one of my I don't want to say clients because my clients they really become friends. They don't. I don't really see them as clients, but I give you an example. We decided to test. We would, we would test one of the local search ads out with the big companies and stuff. And
Yes.
at the same time, we were still running and doing our articles and doing our stuff and doing our social and writing loads of content. We were getting, everything was coming, and we were still getting the leads in. But we found out that with the local search ads, um, you were losing a lot more because people were shopping around and you would be paying
Yep.
for just that phone call coming in 30, 40, $50, depending on what the service was,
Hmm.
and no guarantee with it. So, yes, they might
Right.
show you up there, but that's because Google's earning that, right? And it doesn't
Yes, they
matter
are.
if they take you around, they're shopping. And it doesn't matter if they, hey, Jeff, I've got some Argentinian ants. Can you deal with that? Yeah, okay. Yeah, but I'm looking at some other companies. Oh, okay. And you
Yep.
don't get the deal. Boom, you've still got 40, $50 you've got to pay for that phone call.
That's right.
Now that's adding up. So you've got your big monthly
That's
fee.
adding up.
You can't
Yep.
even get any content on there. Now you're paying for ads. And
Hmm.
so your couple of $1,000 you're paying each month has just gone up and gone up and gone up over more.
And it just
When did you
balloons up.
decide then, Jeff? You were like, "That's it. There's enough's enough. I'm not this. I'm getting ripped off."
Well, they put you on a 1-year contract. So, um, basically, I was in it about 8 months when I decided that this is just not going to work for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I pulled the plug. And then, funny you should mention hidden fees. So they said, well, if you're going to stop using our service, that's
Yeah.
fine, but you have to buy out the remainder of your contract with us.
Yeah.
And I said,
Yeah.
well, I'm not in a position to do that. Now, had you done your job and kept us busy, I would have been more than happy to pay you every month. That would have been a fine expense, totally justifiable if we were growing. But
Yeah.
now we've shrunk and we've missed a lot of opportunity. So I can't afford to pay you. And I said, so if you can't just let us walk, you're just going to have to put it on a tab. I'm afraid it's going to take a long time for me to pay. And so I
Good
said,
move.
maybe just write it off. And they said, well, thanks for being forthcoming and everything. We'll send you to collections. And I said, that's a shame because you never delivered what you promised you would deliver. And
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
left holding the bag, but they will enforce their 1-year contract. And boy, are they serious about it. I got a letter from a
Yeah.
collection firm just today in the mail. So I'm going to call that feller on Monday and let him know, hey, they never delivered what they said they would deliver. So
Right.
it puts me in a quandary. I can't really pay this.
I'm devastated for you. I wish you and I had met each
Yeah.
other way before you even got involved with
Way
these
before.
guys. It would
Yes.
never have happened. But here's the thing, because
Yeah.
now here's the thing, and I want all you guys out there that are listening, that have set up your companies, that are running your companies, you don't own that freaking website. They're
You
taking
don't.
it from you.
Yeah.
It's gone. Your beautiful site has gone, Jeff. It's disappeared. You don't own it. Okay.
But that's right. You
So
don't own that website. That's where you'd
yeah,
said, and that's the thing. I get into some of the forums and talk with other, pest control guys from all
yeah.
over. And, my attitude's always been the same. I've trained a lot of technicians as,
Mm,
a tech trainer. I've been a supervisor, I've been a branch manager, I've always really been a good coach. And
yeah.
a lot of the technicians that I've trained have gone on to win awards because, and I feel like partially responsible, like, hey, I really trained that fella good and
Well,
he's
you're
out there
part of their
killing it.
story. You're
Right,
part of
part of
their
the story,
story.
and
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
invested, yeah, and so when they win awards, you feel great, you feel like, "Man, he really took the training well, that guy's out there being a star," and it makes you feel great, and so, I get in the forums and I talk to guys that are newer, that are up and coming, and I tell them, "Hey, listen, learn from my costly mistakes. I've
Yeah.
made those mistakes so you don't have to,
Bloody
because
hell.
trust me, it's a tough one, and it's very expensive because there's what we spent. Sure, that adds up, but I look
Mm,
at, overall the missed opportunities from just being downraked
massive.
into obscurity,
Yeah.
massive. We could have
And the
grown by
fact that
leaps and bounds,
they're fishing in your pond as well. They
and they're
don't
fishing
they're
in your
not being
pond.
honest about it. They're not being honest and saying, "Hey,
Right.
I only work with you guys in this area. It's
Mhm.
just as a free for all." Now, I'm not saying there's if you're a company out there and you're listening to this and you're an
Yep,
SEO company and you're fishing in a pond, be honest. Tell the client, right?
that's
Tell
right.
them, hey, by the
Yeah,
way, if X amount this other client comes on board or they're in the local area, we work for anybody. Don't lie.
right,
Just be honest with
right.
them, right?
And I'll tell you, the
Or
really good ones are the ones that tell you that they will do an exclusivity thing, and they say, "We won't work with any of your competitors." And that's it. And they said, ones that have approached me, "Hey, that would be a conflict of interest." And I go, I guess you're right. That would really be. And again, not being a
yeah,
marketing guru or not being a
no,
webmaster, I
no,
said, how would I have thought of that? But you're right. That makes a lot of sense. Now,
yeah,
I could go to, two separate, pet groomers across town from each other. Sure, they're direct competitors, but me servicing one and servicing the other, no bearing. They just both don't want bugs. I'm more than happy.
that's
They don't
happy.
have to
Yeah,
pick me at the one spot, and I don't have to refer the other spot off because I can only work with one pet groomer. So it never really occurred to me. But then when I
no,
thought about it, in this case, it does occur. So, like you said,
yeah,
if they're honest and they say we're working with everybody, that should be
yeah.
one big red flag right there. Because now, what if they're playing favorites?
That's the thing. No, and here's
Yeah,
the thing. I don't run a marketing or an SEO company. I run a content media company, and I
right.
work as a consultant. So, like, so guy, Jeff, who's is a friend of mine, and I started it with him as in his company. Um, I wouldn't dream. I would not dream of taking another client in that area and saying, right, I'll work with you as well, and I'll develop all your content and develop everything, and not tell Jeff or not tell Kenny or Megan or anybody else that I work with or
That's
my
correct.
friend who I work with in Florida. I just couldn't do that because one, it's not
Right.
honourable,
Right.
and two, here's the thing, and this is what I want to jump into as well. For me, when I work with anybody, it doesn't matter what they want to do. I want to, like we said, I want to become part of the story. I want to
There
be
you go.
invested in the company. Do you feel that you were duped in that way, that they promised they'd be invested, but obviously they weren't invested in you at all?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, the first rep you talk to is generally their salesperson. And let's face
Yeah.
it, we're all, to a certain extent salesmen, and the easiest sale is a
Yeah.
salesman. So, if you
It's
make
true.
somebody feel like you're going to take care of them, we know that's the secret to success. If somebody calls and says, "I really wish somebody would help me and take care of me. I've got this bad roach problem. I got this bad, you name it, rodent problem." And we say, "Hey, listen, we've got you. No problem. We can come. We can handle it. Yes, we're going to charge you some. We got to make a living, but we're
Yeah.
going to take care of you." And people like that. And then when you follow through and you actually take care of them, now you've got a raving fan. And so,
Yeah.
I mean, being a salesman myself, when it comes to that, knowing that people just want that peace of mind, pardon me, I was an easy sale because they said basically, they outlined it. They said, "Here's where you're at. Here's where we're going to get you to. Um, you're gonna experience some explosive growth." And I said, "We need explosive growth." I said, "I want my problem to be, I need to get another truck. I need to find another guy because there's just too much work for two technicians at this point, and they said, "That's where we're, gonna get you." And now, like today, for example, there was nothing on the schedule for today except a podcast call at the end of the day. And so I made sure to block off some time, for this
Yeah.
call. But we have online booking available through the CRM that we're using, and times come up where people do online books. So I blocked off the time so nobody would book this time slot so that I'd
Ah,
be available. But
yeah,
I'll tell you, all the way up until yesterday, at the end of the day, when they could possibly book something for today, no one had booked. Although we are picking up steam because we stopped
yeah,
everything that we were doing wrong as of October
yes,
31st last year. On Halloween, we said enough's enough. Starting November 1st, we're going to do, as amateurs, going in, starting off with a single page GoDaddy site, which has
yes,
now become a little bit more than that, still a GoDaddy site. My office manager is right now diligently clacking away on the keys, building a WordPress site, because we come to realize, oh, you can only do so much with a GoDaddy site. Now
yeah,
we got to build a WordPress site. And
yeah.
bless her heart, she's taken it upon herself to read all of those Google articles and learn all of the ins and outs. And I mean,
Wow.
I don't even think she's learned half of them yet, but she's
No, absolutely
taken
not. No.
yeah, there's so much to know
And
about
here's
how
the
to rank.
thing. She needs to, I mean, and the thing is that you need your manager to be able to just get on with the management and get on with the bookings and not have
Yes,
to do all that kind of stuff. And you would have
right.
been at if everything had worked the way it had been working, it's all
Yep,
gravy. You would have been there, and she's now having to put on 10 hats that she shouldn't have.
that's true.
And
Yes.
and really, so when you think about it, the big company that promised you the world is actually not only cost you money, but it's cost
Mhm.
you relationships. It's put pressure on your staff. It's put pressure on your
Right.
company. So,
That's right.
what advice? And I know there's
Yes,
a lot of upcoming companies. It's pest control is a great industry,
it is.
but there's what advice can you give for young companies that are up and coming that are thinking maybe I should sign up with this agency because what would you tell them?
Right. So the first thing I would tell them is, ask for guarantees and read through their agreement. If they're going to put you on an agreement of any sort,
Mm,
make sure you read all the fine print, how they enforce their agreement. All of that stuff it plays a role. But also, don't just go for a name. I was going for the big name, and I said, well,
yeah.
geez, they work with these guys, they work with those guys. They're huge. They must really have it down pat. No, no, big ticket isn't necessarily better. And, that's what I came to realize. You're always going to see a really good looking website right off the bat, but
Oh
that
yeah.
doesn't matter if nobody's going to see it but you know your website.
Yeah.
It's your website. But if people that are looking aren't
Yeah.
finding you, you're stuck. You're
And I would
absolutely
ask, here's the thing, you
yeah,
guys that are out there as well, just to add to what Jeff's saying,
yeah,
and when they might understand marketing, but they might not understand content, they might not understand the industry. Maybe
yes,
ask them a question. Maybe ask them an entomology question. If they're honest,
right,
they'll say, "I don't know that, but I can find out." But I mean,
yes,
ask them what an alley is. Ask them ask them what the
yes.
life cycle of a flea is. Ask them what a causative
There you go.
organism is. Ask them how long does it
Yes.
take for termites to damage them. My backlight's just going on.
There you go.
Alexa, office on. She's decided that she's putting my lights off and on. So
uh,
ask them,
but ask
ask
those
them.
questions. Yeah.
Ask those questions, because if they
Yeah.
say they know the industry, then they're going to know a bit about entomology. They're going to know when termites swarm. They're going to know
That's right.
wood damaging insects. Carpenter ants.
Right.
Do they eat wood or not? Or is it
Right.
how long does a termite eat wood? Is there a life cycle? These things they need to know. Then you know if they're
Right.
bullshitting you or not, and
That's true.
if they actually do know the industry.
That's true. And you know what? That does help, and if they don't,
Oh yeah.
but they do know enough about web development, if they know enough about Google ranking and,
Yes, yes, yes,
SEO and
yes.
all that stuff, then
Yes.
they can work with you and make it a team effort. And that's one thing.
That's the thing.
uh, Yeah, and I mean, one really nice person that approached me said, "Hey, listen," and this is what tipped me off that something wasn't right. That coupled with the phones not ringing, somebody really nice sent me an email, and they were very humble. And he says, listen, I don't know anything. And he was honest right up off the bat. He goes, I know nothing about
Yeah.
pest control, but it looks to me from your GMB that you guys are a really serious, really good pest control company. People are saying good things about you, but let me talk to you a little bit about your website. And of course, I
Yeah.
took that, personally at first. I was like, well, what about my website? I paid through the nose for this website. I
Yeah.
like the look of this website. What's wrong with my website? And
That's
but
a
he said,
strategy. That's a typical strategy to get you on the phone and sell you a service.
right, right. And so, I says, well, hold on a minute and everything. But the guy was very humble about it. So I emailed
Yeah.
him back and I said, can you tell me what exactly, isn't right or up to par?
Yeah.
Because I am curious. As far as I know, everything's going well. And he
Yeah.
goes, I'm glad. If it's going well, then that must mean that there's a lot of referrals going on, which means you're doing a swell job. And I said, oh, really? And he goes, and people are looking for you by your name, but they may not be looking for you under, let's say, pest control near me.
Yeah.
And he goes, let me show you the audit that I have. And he was dead on. He showed me, he said, you had a lot of traffic. A
Yeah.
lot of them typed in your company name. So they were
Yeah.
specifically looking for you.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody told them good things. And I went, yeah, we do have a lot of, raving
Yeah.
fans that'll shamelessly plug us. And
Yeah. Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
thankful for them because they help us,
Yeah.
through tough
Yeah. They keep
times.
you going.
So
Yeah.
they keep you going. And I said, but it does seem to have fallen off a bit. And he goes, yeah, you're losing out on the organic calls that are people that have no idea who you are, but they need to know who you are because they're going to end up settling for less than your level of service because they just can't find you. And I said,
Yeah.
well, now that's interesting, isn't it? And so, I got on a call with him. He did a screen share and he did all this
Yeah.
stuff. And he says, I'm not going to kid you. I do want you to sign up with us, but there's something I
Process.
need you to show you. And just
Yeah.
so you know, but I told him, I said, well, I'm locked into a contract. And he says, I
Yeah.
understand. And he goes, and they'll probably enforce it. He says, I, know the industry. And he
Yeah.
goes, but
Yeah.
he was so honest in the beginning. And he says, I'm going to tell you, I know nothing about pest control, nothing at all. So in, adding content to your website, I would need your input. I would actually ask and call upon you, since it is your site, to maybe once a month write something up and send it my way, and I can make sure it looks good and get it up there, and then your final approval, go with it. He goes, because I'll be honest, I don't know a thing about bugs. I've always called a pro like yourself and had them handle it, and they do a good job. The people I have, he's states away. So he goes,
Yeah.
if I'd have known you guys, or lived in your neck of the woods, I'd probably have you there and I'd be saying great things about you because you're looking at your reviews, people are. And I said, thanks, that's great. I said,
Yeah.
but no, thanks for bringing to my attention. And he goes, no, and I told him, I said, I really like the site. I like the look and feel of the site. And he goes, it's a great looking site and it reads well and it's laid
Yeah.
out very professionally. He goes, and,
Yeah.
I would have thought that maybe you designed that yourself and just didn't know enough about SEO, didn't know enough about, Google H tags and whatever this other
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
that you told
The
me
header,
about.
the
Yeah, header tags.
H1
Yeah.
tags, H6 tags. Yeah. Yeah. For your title
Yeah,
tags. Yeah.
H1, H6.
Yeah.
That's what he was telling me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah. Yeah.
and I was like, wait, what does that mean? And it, bounce
Yeah.
rate, click-through rate, all this stuff I have
Yeah.
no idea about. And but I mean, like you said, if somebody wants to know the life cycle of a flea, no problem. I've got you. If they say, what's your bounce rate or click-through rate? I don't know. I'm a
Yeah.
pest control guy. I go out,
Yeah.
well, is this infestation bad? Yes, it is, but we can fix it. And I'll tell you how we'll fix it. That's no problem.
Yes.
But and so he said, listen, if we teamed up, and this is one of the things that I liked about that particular individual. So we still talk to this day. He's actually given a little bit of coaching and a little bit of advice because he
Yeah.
too has heard the whole story. And he
Yeah.
goes, man, you really got run through the ringer. And so, yeah, what I always say, in these forums and to any other, up and comer that's just starting off, that mom and pop marketing firm that's like right next door to you, maybe in the same city, and they're just starting off as well, but they are using their expertise. You team up with them about your expertise in the pest industry, and maybe they do all of the website and the knowing about how Google algorithms work and everything like that. You may have a recipe for success doing that as well.
Absolutely.
But again, like you said, honesty, that's where it's at. They
It's
want
just
to,
honesty. Yeah.
Yeah, get somebody who will work with you exclusively for your area so they're not fishing in the same pond. Get somebody who will tell you point blank, I know nothing about bugs, but with your help, I'll learn. And,
Yeah.
you may have a recipe for success. But yes, gosh, I'll tell you, these big name firms, um, they've got a big name and they make a really pretty site. And,
But they don't care about you.
outside of that, I don't think it's really going to help a business out,
No. No.
No.
And one thing I'll say, guys, if you're out there and you do have a marketing company that comes to you and they say, we want to target the keyword pest control near me,
Yes.
my advice is run far and run fast, because they obviously don't know how to write, and they obviously don't know, because here's the thing, and this is something you can take on board.
Yes.
One of the worst things to do out there, ladies and gentlemen, if you're writing content for your website and you start to target everything else that everybody's doing, pest control near me, let's say we're doing pest control in a Californian town, and you add that in,
Yeah.
then one, you're not creative. Two, you don't understand the algorithm really, and you don't understand that you need to be writing quality content that people will connect with, engage with, learn from, be educated, and will connect with you. If you're targeting those keywords, think about it. So
Hmm.
is every other SEO marketing company out there.
That's
And
right.
all the articles and all the AI that they use to do that is going to be the same kind of article. Case in
Yeah.
point, one time we actually wrote well, I actually wrote it because I've written for international magazines all over the world, but
Yes.
they were targeting a crawl space, doing crawl space for termites and things like that. And so
Oh, yeah.
we had a local magazine that says, hey, do you want to come and advertise in our magazine, and we'll give you some editorial space? And so they call me up and says, Jock, what do you think about it? I says, well, let's do it, but I get
Mhm.
to write the article, not their reporters. We'll write it. So yes, all right,
There you
if
go.
it's going to cost you X amount, let us do it. And they went, we don't normally do this, but yeah, okay, because I had proven it. And so we created an article that was all really mysterious, and it was the darkness. I can't remember what the title was, with darkness of the crawl space, and it was really kind of, it was like a horror. It
I like
was like a horror movie, but
Oh,
that
nice.
captures, and that was in colored magazine, printed and distributed all over, and that
And you gotta
is
have
the
some
type of
fun.
content you need. I had fun
Yeah. You gotta have some
and be
fun with it.
educated. That's it. And
Yeah.
this is what anybody, guys, if
Yeah.
you're out there and you're developing content for your website, it's not just about hitting that keyword. It's about having fun with the
Mhm.
content so that you can educate the people about it as well. And you can make it interesting, because who knows, someone might find that article in your area that doesn't have a pest problem, but really is interested in spiders or something, and finds out,
There you
hey,
go. Yeah.
did you know that the brown recluse or whatever, this is how the venom operate? And then they share it
Mhm.
somewhere and they're interested, and there's some good pictures. And there's a lot to be said for quality content. Sometimes it's a slow build, but ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have the money to go out and spend on a lot of ads and things like that, put your money into quality content, be creative,
Yes.
have fun, and
You gotta
maybe
have fun. Yeah.
you will not run into the same problems as Jeff did.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's really it in a nutshell. And that's what we're doing now. We changed course, and already we're starting to reap some benefit from that. The phones are actually starting to ring a little bit more.
Fantastic.
We're not where we were, but we'll get there. And so moving forward, onward and upward. But lesson learned. And
That's
guys
it.
out there, if you're gonna do it, just ask a ton of questions, and always best advice an old timer gave me, I guess 30 years back, is he said, always prepare for the worst and hope for the best. So, in being
Yes.
prepared for the worst, you ask these questions. What if it
Yeah.
doesn't work? What if I don't see this? What if I don't see that happening? Uh, what are the guarantees? What is the contingency? Can I bail out of this if it's not working for me? That's a big one. Some of the more reputables that I've talked to lately, they say, we're a month to month from the word go, because we need to earn your business every month. And I said, well, that's a refreshing take, because,
Yeah. Yeah.
when I went to leave those guys, they said, well, we still got you lock, stock, and barrel. And I go,
That's right.
but you're not doing anything for me.
And like I said, if if you're out there and you do decide to work with an organization, if you're going to spend $2,500, $3,000 or thousands of dollars out and you're getting benefit from it, then have at it. And if you're
Oh, yes.
finding
Yeah.
and you're getting what they promise, great.
Oh,
But I
yes.
can tell you
And it's
and
well worth it.
learn from
Yeah.
Jeff, right?
Yeah.
I would
I know the
say,
last
and correct me
conversation
if
I
I'm
had with
wrong.
my rep over there, I said, I'd love to keep paying you. I really would. If you'd only done what I asked, what you promised, even.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, I'd be
And that's
happy
the
to write
thing.
the check.
And they don't understand that. And the problem is, and I would say 90%, if not more, of the big firms, they don't really care about you. They're not a part
No,
of your story. And
that's
you're
right.
just a check at the end of the month and a commission for the people there. So learn about the
Yeah.
big marketing companies, learn about the horrors. And if you've got any questions, guys, jump in our group, go on to Pest Finder Pro, send us a question, send Jeff a question, find him on there, send him a question, contact him,
Absolutely. Be happy to
ask him
answer them.
about
Yeah.
the problems. He's happy to help you, and I'm happy
Yes.
to give you advice as well, so you don't fall into the trap.
If
Jeff,
there's
I
one
know
thing I
we've
love
had
about our community is we really do lift each other up. If a guy doesn't know,
absolutely,
he'll send a picture. Hey, have you ever seen this? No, I've
yeah,
never seen it either. Hey, you know what? I know an entomologist. Let me send it his way. And then you've got
that's
3
it,
guys that just learned about a bug neither of them have ever seen. But now these guys know. Next time they see it, they go, "Oh, I know
yeah,
what this guy is." So we really do have a great community. Overall, I like the way that we really do try to lift each other up and help
yeah,
challenge one another to get better at what we do. It's huge. It's amazing, and that's why I don't think I could ever leave this industry, because the group of
yeah.
people that I call colleagues, they're a great bunch of people. And I
Oh,
mean, we work
absolutely.
hard, we do, but we look out for one another. And I mean, hey, let's face it, there's plenty more
And you
bugs
have
than there
fun
are
doing
us.
it.
So we got to stick together. And we have fun
Absolutely.
doing
And
it. Exactly.
you have fun
Yeah.
doing it. I remember last time we
Yeah.
spoke as well, when I went out with Jeff, and we were on a flea job, and he'd invented something, and I only had shorts and stuff on there, and he was like, "Well, Jock, you got to take one for the team." I'm like, "Dude, I'm just
Yeah.
out here to take photographs and video." It's like, "No, you got to take one for the team." So there, I
Yeah.
was in this flea infested place. Honest to God, it was crazy. But
Yeah.
we were well protected. Well, he was.
Good.
Um, the thing that he invented protected me to a certain level, so that was good as
Oh,
well. But
nice.
what fun! But what fun we had, and that's the main thing. If you can have fun in your job, and this is even the
Yes.
marketing should be fun. I don't even like to use the term marketing, because I like to.
Yeah.
It should be connection. Even the connections that we create in our business to our
Yes.
customers, we
Yeah.
should really delight them, because they don't want any bugs, and we also want them to recognize that you're the expert in your area, and what
Yes.
they see online, what they connect with you online, it's not only educational, it's fun, and it really does become part of that story. So
And that's another reason I
um
love it so much. You could be if having a down day, there's some things maybe going
yeah,
wrong. And then you visit that one customer who says, "Hey, I really appreciate you guys. I remember how bad it was. Keep doing what you're doing." And you walk away
yeah,
feeling like, "Wow, they like us. And I guess we're doing something right." And all right, I feel better now. I was a little bummed about this, or I was a little worried or stressed about that. But
yeah,
man, after that conversation, I feel uplifted. I feel a little better, and it just
that's
lifts your
it,
spirits. Yeah. You,
that's it,
you
that's
use
it.
your expertise and your knowledge, and you've helped solve a problem, and you're the hero, and it feels good. Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Jeff, I
Yeah.
want to thank you for being back on with me, and thanks for being
Yes.
so honest.
Yes. Thanks for
And
having me back on.
dude, it's fun, and you'll be back on again, because there's so much that we
Yes.
can talk about, and
Oh,
I've
yeah,
got
for days.
there's loads that we can cover, but
Yeah.
I think this is particularly important, because I don't want and there's some people in Pest Finder Pro, they're new companies, they've just joined us,
Oh, okay.
and we don't want them to fall into any traps. So
Right.
everybody who's a member in our community on Pest Finder Pro, I think there's 700 odd of them, or maybe more now. You're
Nice.
going to get this email with this episode in your inbox, and
Beautiful.
you
Yeah.
learn from Jeff. You learn from Jeff's experience, and I can't wait to
Yeah.
have you back on, brother.
Getting
I
into
know
the
we've had a bit of a
forums, getting
problem with
into
the weather
this.
and everything else, but
Yeah, that's always
We've
good.
done well.
And I've learned, the best thing you can do, and I've learned it from day one. My original mentor, who just recently I got the news he passed away. Really great guy. Sad news, and he had moved far away. He's living in Florida, but just this last week passed away. But one of the best things he imparted to me, he goes, "Never be afraid to ask for help." He says, whether you're first year in
Amen.
or you got 20 years in, he goes, the best thing you can do sometimes is ask for help, because the guy that gives you that help is going to open up things and unlock doors for you. So I think, getting in the forums,
Frozen
just
Jeff.
talking with other guys, doing this with you, it's good, because we really do. We lift each other up, and, never be afraid to ask for help.
Dude, that's awesome. You broke up there a little bit, but I would echo that. Never be afraid to ask for help, and make sure that you reach out to us, or you reach out to Jeff. And he's happy to help you, because he wants to see the next successes out there as well. And if he can help you stop falling in the trap that he did, then that's a blessing. And
Yes.
Absolutely. Jeff, thank you, my friend. Thank you for being with us.
Yes.
We're going to do this again, and thanks for taking time out of your day, and I wish you amazing success, and I'm glad that you're out. And listen, if you're the company that had him and you're listening, just drop it, because we know your tactics. There's no need. There's no need to try and force him into a corner. Just let bygones be bygones, because karma's a bitch.
You got that right. That's true.
So,
yeah.
Amen to that one. Jeff, it's always great having you. I can't wait to speak to you again, and we'll have you back, my friend. God bless.
All right. Wonderful. Thanks so much.